All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to get back in. Both teams should be in good position to start up the picks and bans pretty soon here, waiting on the last couple seconds between them all. And we'll be getting into game number 3. Victoria has the momentum. Berkeley has the potential to still offset this. They did win game number 1. They now have seen the winning strategy from the side of Victoria, and so we'll see what they can do, both teams now, to really take this away in what's just one game separating match point, both sides.
Yeah, and I think something that we can talk about is the fact that Turkey Master did not look comfortable at all on that Caitlyn. So banning away those ADCs that are kind of in meta or picking it away was actually a really great strategy that I think favored Victoria.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. The draft theory is going to be pretty interesting to see who can come up with what.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of mind games that are probably going to be going into this. Victoria getting away that rise. They don't want a repeat of the first game like they didn't want a repeat of it in the second game.
No. I think that's right call.
Yeah, I mean, that would really suck, right? Like, you're in the round of 16, and you're like, you are ready to go, but then you get cheesed out for both of the games that you lose. That would be absolutely heartbreaking.
Well, I want to talk about the spirit that Victoria showed coming into this one, right? They're the lower seed of this, right? And it looked very much like they were up against the wall in game number 1, and they did eventually lose that game, but they still dug in so hard and fought for it and have shown such mental fortitude through this series. We've had 2 40-minute plus games, and the players are seem no worse for the wear for it. And so I'm wondering if we're going to see a collapse out of either of these guys in game number 3. It is so hard to start back at level 1 when you've been full build in both games in the series so far, right?
Yeah, and I think that is going to be a huge point of this game. Like who, if neither team mentally breaks, like it's going to be like overall. This has been an incredible series.
I love what I've just seen here. Varus instantly picked for Turkey Master. They said we're not taking any chances on that one again. The bans are relatively consistent across the board. Rise is out, Rengar's out, so some adaptive styles. I would not be surprised to see the Italian one go for that Kha'Zix this round of the draft. I would suspect Like a Boss would likely try to pick that one up if it's not going to be taken away. And so as a denial pick, I see a priority on Shen for Dank Puppies, maybe Nautilus. I don't see him steering away from that one. I would expect a first pick of a top laner and likely an aggressive jungle as well to come out.
Yeah, and I'm still sitting here like looking at it, and I'm like, hey guys, your Camille is up. Like, the easiest way to start a split push is to kill the split pusher, and Camille is very good at that.
Well, 97 is going to opt for the Jhin again. We saw it be a little bit tough for him, really picking the curtain calls in the last game, but by the time that they lost that game, they were so far into their second wind that, you know, with the right mentality coming through, I could see 97 playing this one a lot cleaner off the early game.
I agree with that as well. I think it just depends on what Like a Boss decides to pick up in the jungle, and like what he decides to make happen, because we saw a lot of pressure being put onto that 19 noobs lane by Pal the Great and Like a Boss, just kind of doing a 4-man collapse. And that's kind of where we saw the game start to slide into UCB's favor.
Right.
And so if they decide to run a similar strategy again now that they're back on blue side with
Zach, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that actually, I feel like that aligns like a boss likes to do. Pretty much every time we've seen Like a Boss play, and I say every time, pretty much the last 2 games, the champions he has been playing are like assassins on the back line, whatever, but he really has just kind of been in the middle of the enemy team overall. And so if that's your play style, Zach's your man.
Absolutely.
Like, you can use Slingshot to get over the wall to initiate a gank. You can use Let's Bounce to disrupt the enemy team. I mean, there's so many things that Zach brings to the table as a champion that I feel like kind of complement like a boss and how he's been playing.
The biggest thing I think for me, the storyline so far, is that both Varus and Nautilus are undefeated in this series, and makes for some interesting talk. Oriana has gone either way. Zyra is a new one. The support Zyra, a little bit of a throwback to earlier in the season, does indicate we're going to be seeing some kind of tanky jungle come out for the side of Victoria here. I don't think they could get away with something too damage heavy, but the Kha'Zix is still up. That's some aggressive picking. The Misfortune, the support Misfortune to respond to the Zyra. Here we go, lad.
Our favorite support champion to cast about.
I feel like it's just our bad luck though, and so I don't want to be too critical of the champion or the strategy because plenty of people have played it to great effect, but we've not had the best luck, you and I, casting Misfortune games, and so we'll see though. It's the offset. Varus and Nautilus have been so traditionally strong in this series. Misfortune, if it's a weaker point, maybe could be swept through. Only the jungle pick remains. And it's Jungle Shen? Is it Jungle Shen or Jungle Rumble?
Oh, please be Jungle Rumble.
Rumble in the he has to have the Rumble in the jungle skin, right?
Oh, please, dude. I am like, this is amazing.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
So something to note, and okay, give you some context. Like Kyle said, I am remote for this cast. That's because I am in California. So while I was here, I got the chance to go check out an LC yesterday, and it was Immortals versus Team Liquid, right? And one of the bands that came out was the Rumble band, and that like really kind of blindsided me. I didn't really understand why Rumble was getting banned out. But it makes me wonder if these guys know something that I don't, since Rumble is obviously being picked again.
Well, I'm excited to see what it's going to come to in the jungle. Rumble in the jungle for the Italian one. We'll see what it comes to. We are going into our 3-minute delay, and just because casters are people too, we're going to be taking a quick break on this one. We will be back when the game starts, and we've got some hype to talk about, so please don't go anywhere. And we're back just in time, ladies and gentlemen, for some action between these two teams. I'm excited to see what UC Berkeley and Victoria can do to pull it out through this game. So, are going to bring that onto your screen now and get ready for some Sweet League action.
Yeah, we do see right now the series 1-1. UBC taking the first game, or UCB. Damn it, I did it again. UCB taking the first game. Victoria University taking the second game, and the second game actually was I would have to say a little bit more convincing in the side of Victoria than against than UCB was in their first game.
Yeah, I think Berkeley is certainly without the momentum here, but I like to think they've got the better draft. I think we've been thrown a serious curveball by this Italian one Rumble, though, and it's just going to be interesting. That the one thing about this game, or this series, I think that's been defining is how well the junglers have been playing around the Kazakhs, around the Rengar, with the Graves, the other, But now it's two really big variables, and I have no idea what we're going to see from them.
Yeah, definitely the misfortune and the Zach for the side of UC, and like the Rumble Zyra actually is a little bit surprising. So I have to agree, the way these X factors play out for both teams, I think is really those are gonna be the two like places to watch, in my opinion, about how this match will turn out.
One of the big things for me too here is Rafflecopter on Misfortune. Not sure his comfort level. I know that Misfortune is somewhat of a counter pick considered to the classic Zyra support, and so with that in mind, I'm not sure. At what point do you prioritize a counter pick versus something you're actually good at? So if Rafflecopter can play this champion well, then I think Berkeley has such a strong advantage in their team fight potential. I mean, the wombo combos they can pull out here are ridiculous. You've got the AoE castle, you've got AoE cast spells, you've got the Let's Balance with Zac, you've got the bullet time and make it rain with Misfortune, and the chain of corruption spreading from Varus. Nautilus getting in, doing all of his CC in the interim. It is just a nightmare. Versus the other side, you have so much damage coming out of the side of Victoria, right? These guys are just like all the damage in the world, and while they do have just as many, I would say, big team fight ultimates and spells for the AoE, they're a little bit more precision based, right? You can kind of go crazy with the side of the composition that Berkeley's built. You got to be a little bit more careful. You got to place the equalizer in the right spot, right? You got to land the shockwave just so. You have to hit every shot of the Jhin ultimate, and you got to be careful positioning with your wild growth as Zyra too. So there are the options there, but it's a fight that Victoria has to play a lot more carefully if it does break out. And I'm not sure in the heat of the battle, especially the way that Berkeley's been playing some of these fights throughout the series, that's something we're really likely to see.
Yeah, and something, yes, that is very true. And the other thing on this note of Berkeley and the way they've been playing the fights, that actually puts them in a precarious position for the Italian one to use that Rumble ulti very well, right? Like, Misfortune has to stand still to channel her ultimate. Like, Cass likes to kite around, but...
Oh, look at this. Really good gank coming out from Like a Boss off the bat. And forces a flash.
Very well done. He actually forced 2 flashes for that. He got a flash out of 1997 and a flash out of Uber Noobs, which is very big.
I was expecting we'd see a little bit more off of that, but the 2 flashes, I mean, you got to be happy with that as Zac Like a Boss bouncing on in and taking away 2 very key summoner spells for survivability off of 2 very immobile champions.
Yeah, definitely. And that is that's actually really huge, because as I was talking about the immobility of the side of UCB, Victoria does kind of suffer from a little bit of the same thing, right? Like, Jhin can't really escape that well. Orianna can't really escape that well. Rumble can't really escape that well.
Right.
Like, it doesn't really look like either team is going to be like the master of escapes this game.
No. It's going to be who lines up and kills one another first.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is, I think it really boils down to how well can Rafflecopter use that Misfortune ult, and how well can Italian One use the Rumble ultimate in the middle of these team fights? And are they able to have these team fights in areas where they want to have them?
Right.
As well.
Map position is going to be very crucial. I think in lanes, it's going to go pretty well over to the side of UCB, and in the jungle, there's just a little bit more to the credit of Victoria that can help hold off a lot of that. You know, the Ori ball is hard to parse through. The lanes are narrow when trying to duck the Jhin ultimate, and Zyra's wild growth can do so much in a closed off corridor, and so they gotta be careful where they are picking and choosing these fights.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to note is, like, generally speaking, both of these teams want to have their fights in the exact same places. Like, Rumble wants to fight you at the entrance to the jungle or somewhere like that. Misfortune wants to fight you in the same exact spot because their ultimates, generally speaking, have the same kind of, like, cone of damage, like, area to do damage, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you're looking at Varus wants them tight and together so his Chain of Corruption can continue. Or Cass wants them nice and tight so she can use that Petrifying Gaze ultimate. Or Orianna wants them in a tight corner so she can use Command Shockwave. Like, a lot of it, I think, is really not even going to boil down to, like, the positioning of the ultimates, but also to, like, who decides to pull the trigger first.
Well, that was the point I was wanting to build toward. We've seen these teams sort of live and die by their split pushes throughout this game, especially just in the Shen, Nautilus, Shen, Nautilus, Shen. It's been a little redundant throughout. It follows a certain pattern, right? They'll either take the first tower, top or bottom. The bot lane will swap to the top side. The top laners will run to the bottom, and then they're just going to stay there until like 40 minutes if history is bound to repeat itself here, right? And so, if and when that eventuality does come to fruition, how do you pull it off? How do you start that fight? Because it's going to be so tense between the two. And I think it actually very slightly goes over to the side of Victoria here, right? Because while neither top laner are going to be able to participate in that fight, Shen still at least has an impact on it when he starts teleporting in, right? If he's using his Stand United. And so I think in terms of the team to pull the trigger, I think there's a little bit more on Victoria's shoulders there. But if they mess it up, if they don't do it right, there's so much that's going to be coming back to bite them for it.
Yeah, and I think that's really the thing to note is that if either of these teams pulls the trigger and then they don't, like, we are a team, let's follow each other to the death type mentality, I think that they will just end up dying anyway. So I think it's going to be really important for them to, like, go all in together, like you were saying.
Absolutely. Well, I'm hopeful that both of these teams, with their explosive compositions, can make some fireworks for us here on this Rift. I'm questioning the Rumble pick early. I know it's going to be good for team fights, and actually it's doing a lot better in terms of staying relevant in jungle farm than I thought it might. But he's not been anywhere to burn a summoner out for his lanes, and his lanes, while they're not suffering for it, they could be doing better. We saw Victoria have a very clean laning phase last time around. We saw them build some advantages for themselves. And now they kind of don't have that. They're down 10 in the bot lane. Losing a little bit in that top side of things just to the early back and the experience difference. And it's really only mid lane in which they're staying hyper competitive.
Yeah, and I think the other thing to note, though, is, like, while the Italian one has been doing a lot in terms of lane pressure with that Rumble, I don't think that, like, UCB hasn't done a great job of capitalizing off any of the pressure the boss has provided for them.
Well, sure. And the hard farm for him, if you take a look at the... Oh, hang on. We got a good kill coming out for First Blood in the bottom lane. Turkey Master is low, and Italian one is there to try to follow up with a very good equalizer. He's burning out. He's flashed in on, and he's done. The exhaust does not matter. But look at that. The Grasping Roots is just a little too soon and will not save his life. Italian one is going to go down. The fight is not done at all. Coach Tyler in the bot lane trying to be there for his team, but was absolutely late to that party. And 97 just now respawning, nowhere near being able to defend this tower. 4-man gank in the bot lane is 3 kills for the side of Berkeley and launching a really nice advantage off the bat.
Yeah, that was actually really huge by Berkeley. They did an excellent job of kind of, I guess, negating that pressure that came out from the Italian one. And that was a catch by Turkey Master and Rafflecopter to just burst out 1997 right away.
Absolutely.
Like, taking Jin out of that fight right away, even if he's not super strong right now, is huge.
Oh, in every capacity. He was not there to defend the tower. He was not there to help try to get anyone out because he didn't have the experience. He was level 6, so could have at least used that curtain call to apply some slows, dissuade some people from getting in. Now it's really just going to be onto the back of Nautilus. Actually catches Pal the Great pretty low and has got him out of this fight, but Zach is in there, and Uber Noobs is going to be the next one to fall. Italian one trying to get through this, and Zach passive should be able to save him if it gets that bad. Pal the Great's not going to let it get that bad, and 97 is fighting for his life, goes down. Pandax is going to find that kill. 7-1 off the bat of the quickest early game we've seen thus far.
Yeah, that was actually completely different than what I was expecting to see. Italian one not even getting the opportunity to throw down that equalizer to make something happen there. I mean, he walked into the enemy team, and I think he got greedy, and there goes Turkey Master.
Yeah, nice play by Dank Puppies. Says, oh, well, you don't get too far ahead of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that we're really critical of Fortune, is that outside of the lane against Zyra and using that ult tactically, we don't really see her provide a lot of actual pressure against anyone else, right?
No, not a bit.
And so I think that is the reason that I'm very critical of that Misfortune, is because outside of the Zyra lane, she doesn't provide a whole lot for her team until you come into like a condensed team fight area.
Right. No, it's a support pick for the later game, and it's not one I like with ADCs that aren't very mobile. So putting it with the Jin or the Varus, I think it's just, you're leaving a lot on the table for your ability to play this one through, because so many of these high damage but immobile carries are just that. It's a trade-off. It's, hey, I'm going to be able to either harass you really safely from the back line or just kind of step all over you with damage in the front line. And as a result, I'm going to need a support with a lot of peel. And Misfortune is not a support with a lot of peel. I mean, she can make it rain around you, but that's kind of the best that you can do. And so
it's like a slow, right? Like it's not even hard CC.
Right, and so in that regard, Italian one could be in trouble here.
Yeah.
So in that regard, if you have a heavy damage, not bad at team fighting ADC, Misfortune seems almost a little, I don't want to say redundant, but like she's gonna have to fight for her position in that as well, just to try to share some of the bandwidth there.
Yeah, and I think that is, yeah, you're right on point with that does a pretty good job of summing up that Misfortune like throughout the game and how your team kind of has to play around that fact. And right there, that was conquered.
Yeah, that's some nice chaining up. It is going to force the Shen ultimate out, but shouldn't do much more than that. So for 2 ultimates on the side of Berkeley, I think they take back 2 on the side of Victoria as well in the Shen stand united and the rapid growth coming out from Zyra there. Uber Noobs had to pop that one just to stay alive. Tower pressure still in the hands of Berkeley here. They're knocking down numbers 2 and 3 as we speak. Should likely just get some good damage on both and won't take much away in terms of the immediate gold, but are setting themselves up for nice positioning here around the map.
Yeah, and I think that Rafflecopter Misfortune ultimate was very good just because it did burn that Shin stand united, so it did give Nautilus the chance to apply some pressure to that bot lane, get some free farm, catch up in experience against Dank Puppies. So overall, very good, and they actually didn't lose anything for it either, because they did just go ahead and pick up that first tier top turret pretty much free. Yeah, no, they were still able to, just with the damage that they've been applying and the behind the tower threat that they have, especially off of Turkey Master's Varus here,
It's been a pretty good push situation for him. Meanwhile, Italian One looks to take away that Cloud Drake in the bot lane. So the rotation game is going to be there for the side of Victoria. Not a minute too soon either. Things are looking a little bit steep for them here. They're 5k down. They're 2 towers down. Don't have any on the map for themselves yet. But let's not discount the fact that we saw them in this position in game 1, right? This was where they were. They almost caught up at gold, and then there were 4 standing towers for them to just knock down to catch things back up, get it all even, round it all up, and really force themselves back into the game. And so it's not like they're in too much trouble uphill here. It's just going to be a matter of finding a way to make this Zyra pick work coming into the mid game, giving Jin a little bit more peel, and getting the damage and farm onto 1997 that he needs to get into the position of a damage threat.
Right, and the interesting thing that I neglected to talk about it because there were so many other things happening, but 1997 actually didn't start with that typical longsword 3 pots that we see. He went with boots and 3 pots, and so he has been a little bit slower in ramping up to that Yomu's and that lethality item. So he went ahead and built the boots of go fast, as I call them, or the boots of swiftness.
Yeah.
And go ahead and finished up that Yomu's right now, but at 16 minutes, that's not ideal, especially because they probably needed that damage a little bit earlier for some of those fights where the Italian one just wasn't able to put out the damage, or there was just questionable, like, the questionable nature of just walking into the enemy team coming out from the side of Victoria, right?
Right, absolutely. The one saving grace in that regard, I believe, for him is that Varus is sort of I don't want to say as useless as he is, because neither of them are useless, but they're in the same position of being a lot weaker than they'd like to be. I'm sorry, no. A lot weaker than they ought to be right now, and so...
Yeah, that's true. Varus did just finish his Edge of Night, so I agree with that, and neither Turkey Master nor 1997 are kind of playing at the degree that we saw them play at, like, the game that UCB won and the game that Victoria won. Neither of these AV are really playing in the same capacity. And so it makes me wonder if having that Rumble pick and the Zyra compared to, like, the Misfortune and the Zac is causing them a little bit of at least discomfort.
Oh man, nice flash shockwave, but is immediately flashed over by Rafflecopter. I like what Coach Tyler was trying to do there, just couldn't quite find it in time. Thankfully for the side of Victoria, the wave will be salvaged long enough into this Misfortune wave clear, I believe, to take down this tower. The bad news for them is they're not only losing 1, but possibly 2. Yes, it looks like it will come down to that. And they do find Misfortune through there, but all in all, they're really getting hammered in on the bottom side of this map.
Yeah, and I think UCB kind of realized what was it? The error of their ways. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Is that the saying?
You can say the error.
The error of their ways. Yeah. Of kind of just trying to take it to them in brawl instead of, like, just being like, okay, you're gonna push in this. Well, all right, we'll just take 2 people and push it in on the opposite side. Right.
No,
previously we would.
Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, previously we would see them try to just go and match the equal numbers in that lane to try to defend instead of being more aggressive with pushing into the enemy base, right? But now we're kind of seeing them take that path, and I think that's what you need to do if you're playing against Victoria, where they primarily have done a better job of winning the team fights. So if you're UCB, just avoid fighting and push objectives and just try to hold more than, like, try to lose less than what you gain, basically.
Yeah, no, min-max it out, so to speak, is the right mentality to approach that situation with. I agree. I think for the side of Victoria, it seems a little bit of an oversight that they were just trying to group up and take that tower away. I think they really have some very nice wave clear options at their disposal to work through a lot of this, right? And for them to underuse them and kind of lowball themselves in that regard does seem wasteful, and it's a bit of a shame. Really expected more out of this Rumble, I think, so far. It was their last pick. They decided at the very end that this is what they were going to try to bring themselves into the round of 8 with, right? And it's done okay so far. It's 2 kills, 2 deaths, and staying relatively current in gold, at least, pretty even against when compared to the enemy jungler. And it's just not been what it needs to be. They've been losing the rotation game when they need to be playing the fight game. And I don't think that their slightly stronger team fight right now really hurts when you take it away and compartmentalize. I still think they can come away in 2v2s. I still think they can come away in 3v3s. It's just a matter of being in the right position to do so.
Right, and that's what we're talking about. And if Pandex gets caught out here in the bot lane, or if UCB decides to go and pinch, which it looks like they might try to do. No, they are going to get engaged on.
They want to fight this out. That's going to be the ultimate coming out from Jin. Couple cones as Misfortune pops hers as well. Rafflecopter trying to spin on through that one. Swa. Does not matter. Both teams just seem to want to say, okay, well, hey, we threatened you, you threatened us. Good game. We'll get back to this in 2.5 minutes.
That's right. And something that we should talk about is, like, while they did do a good job of each team just kind of disengaging from one another, I was saying that Pandex might have gotten caught in that bar if Victoria decided to engage on them. And while he was down there, he did get a nice little push going.
Oh, hang on, it's going to be breaking out. That's the Rumble shutting down Cassio, but now Turkey Master will find the kill onto Ubernoobs. It's going to be a good shockwave trying to hold up Pandex, but meanwhile, Dank Puppies is on the back line, exhausted, trying to do everything he can for his team, but they're going to find it. Look at that double kill coming out for Dank Puppies. He gets that one just on the Cinder alone, ticking it out on the last little bit of burn. And what a play coming out from Coach Tyler, the Italian one, and 97, especially as the damage threats to keep it all pumping out despite their incredibly low health bars. Dank Puppies held out for so long in that fight, and it came out screechingly worth it. That's going to be very upsetting, though, for them if Lycabos is able to get in onto the backline. The health bars aren't there, but a good taunt should seal his fate, or at least bring it down to that passive. But look at this. Rafflecopter, the support with the double kill. And Zach's back up. The dragon hasn't reset. They've got it. They're going to take the Mountain Drake out of that one. And that is lemonade out of lemons any way you cut it. Holy cow.
Now, I don't even know what to say about that. Like, I guess, okay, so Misfortune has got that phage to do some damage there. And with the Boots of Lucidity, allowed her to have that ultimate back up in time. The Italian had just a low enough health bar. Dank Puppies didn't have any of his cooldowns to try to stay alive or help keep the Italian one stay alive, and they just got aggressed on, and they ended up losing for it.
Yeah, I think I've cracked the code on this Misfortune, right?
I'm ready.
So we talk about this. Oh, he's got the Edge of Night ready. Ubernoobs doesn't stand a chance, has to flash out, is gonna get...
Magazine.
Oh, take it away. Okay, so, I was talking about criticizing Misfortune for lack of peel for the carry, right? That's okay. Misfortune doesn't peel for carry. Turkey Master dies. In case of emergency, break glass. Boom, new carry. That's all they had to do. It's not about peeling for your one carry. It's just about having a second one, which they did down there, right at the Dragon Pit. Like, well, emergency backup carry mode activate. Takes 2 kills. Saves the Zac. Saves the day. Brings the Dragon back into the fold, and really helps to maintain this lead that the side of Victoria, particularly Dank Puppies, did really well to wrestle away from. Oh, that's a good shot onto Turkey Master, and it looks like we're going to see just that. Carry 1 goes down. Now they're onto Rafflecopter. Really good prioritization, but Pandex is making it hard for him. Will likely give up his own life here just to make sure that his remaining teammates get out safe and sound, A-okay, and this time Pal the Great not where he needed to be on that fight.
Yeah, and I think something that is really important to talk about here is that during that whole fight, Pal the Great was nowhere nearby to try to contribute to that fight. Like, he got zoned out almost immediately, had to take the long, and didn't really do anything with it.
Okay, so it looks like they're going to be able to push out this top lane pretty well. Lycabos is trying to get in, but I think that's pretty much suicide for him, especially his passive should not be up from the last one. So Coach Tyler blows the whistle on that one and calls a timeout for Lycabos. Taken away, and the tower will be stopped up, but I think they're really happy to take that kill. And now that there's not much jungle threat and they know Nautilus is on the top side of the map without teleport, they can really start a good push coming out here from Dank Puppies in the bot lane. That's going to be at least 2 waves crashing into the tower, unless they opt for send somebody like Cassio or Misfortune down there, and that's not what they want either. So I gotta criticize Shen for running away from this right now.
Yeah, I think it's because they want to try to avoid falling behind in those tower objectives like they did in the first game, where it got to the point where they just kept losing. Just gonna sit here. Yeah, he's okay. All right. I love Nautilus. Fair and balanced. Definitely is definitely not too tanky for anyone else on the enemy team.
He's awesome.
So I think you kind of have the first game weighing on the minds of Victoria, right? Like they fell behind by so many of those tower objectives early on that it caused them a lot of headaches as the game got later and later. And so maybe they're just having a little bit of a flashback issue where they're like, well, we could do something, but we really don't want to lose this second tier mid turret, so we're just gonna back up and take it. Like,
right.
Protect, be safe. And
it really was an infrastructure thing for them. They lost so much early that by the time they came thundering back late, it was just too much for them. And so the good news is the big thing to note is you don't have that backline potential. There's one spell you need to worry about in that, and it's Nautilus TP. And it's not as though Nautilus is known for being able to really knock down towers and inhibitors and nexuses. So
yeah. I mean, he just kind of walks at them and then punches them with his left fist.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't waddle them to death, and so in that regard, I think the side of Victoria really might be second guessing themselves too much for their own good. Like we see Shen down there in that bot lane crashing the wave against the tower now, but he could have done that threefold in the time that it's taken him so far, just to kind of get his act together. And it's not like he's in any different position. He's got his teleport up still. He's got his stand united still. Those were not off the table prior, and they're certainly not off the table now. And he's still just giving too much respect to this Nautilus. Like, Pandex is strong, but you're 2 levels up. You're roughly close in itemization, and I really would like to see a little bit more out of Dank Puppies here, because he's not playing up to the potential that we've seen him play, even in this game so far right now. And I don't know if it's just shot calling coming out of some worried minds at Victoria, or if it's just over caution on his part. He doesn't want to be the one to have things go wrong for him, but regardless, that seems to be a glaring error to me.
Yeah, and I think something else to note, to just kind of get away from the Shen pick and how it's not doing exactly what they want.
I'll stop lambasting him about it.
No. I mean, like overall, like you're on the right track with saying that. Like he could have been doing that bot lane push a lot sooner. Like it would have made a huge difference in what's happening in the game right now, right? Like Nautilus would probably still have to be down there dealing with that. But the other important thing to note is Rumble's build, right? The nice thing about Rumble is the itemization for him is relatively affordable as like a top laner when you're getting gold, right? You definitely want that Leandries early for that straight pen, and you want that Rylai's for your equalizer. But he's also, so hang on real fast. I think might be some problems here.
3 members trying to focus in on Dank Puppies. Does flash out. Nice dodge on the Chain of Corruption. If Taunt can be up anytime soon, he may be able to get himself out of here, but 5 members are certainly enough to take down the Shen, and the rest of his team not there. I don't really think they can engage too heavily without him, so 97 burning that ultimate might just be dissuasion. We'll see.
Yeah, and that actually is going to hurt. That's going to hurt Victoria a lot, not having the Shen for this fight. The good news is that if they can stall him out for about 25 seconds, the moment that Shen revives, they can use that stand united to get him right into the fight. But it doesn't look like they will be able to stall this out just because of the great wave clear coming out from the side of UCB.
There's so many abilities to just throw on the ground to really dissuade anyone from getting close. There's the miasma, particularly, and the make it rain that are so critical in helping to take away these towers. Oh, they want the fight. Wow. That's the equalizer burn. The summoner heals out for Turkey Master, but the support is already down. Nice pop over the wall by Pau, but that means he's not going to be in a position to defend any of his teammates like a boss. Flashes over. Baron is hot and heavy for him. Wants to take that out, but this is Baron for Victoria. I think they've got this one pretty much free. It's going to be really hard to steal as the Zac right now. Pal the Great is so low and really can't support it, and so you're going to have to go in entirely solo with quite a low health bar, not anywhere near smite time. The Guardian Angel is there. That's not passive, but they still take it out and away. Guardian Angel's down, passive the next one to fall, and the Baron is in the hands of Victoria. Just like that. They did it again. This is exactly what we saw in game 1, right? They were behind.
Yep.
They're down 4 or 5 towers. They're down in gold. They find the right pick. They find the right fight in the jungle off the back of what looks like a disadvantage. And boom! That's a Baron out of it. Now they really are in a position to start knocking down some of these standing gold towers. And if they can just, to put it a little bluntly, man up and play like they've got the capacity to, I think they're in great shape.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we have kind of touched on several times. It is kind of that idea. Hang on. Fight around this Drake.
Trepidation around this Cloud Dragon. It would be Cloud Drake number 2. Really big for especially the Rumble, I think, as he's going to look to make some of those flanks. So you can already see him moving a mile a minute on this Summoner's Rift. Drops the ultimate as well in tandem with that curtain call from Jhin, but it's all just stalling out for the real threat, which is Dank Puppies in that top lane, barking up a tower.
I think something else to note is using those ultimates. Jhin did get Pal the Great to burn both of his Ghost and his Flash to stay alive there. Oh, my Rafflecopter's
goodbye, Rafflecopter. That is a crash. And look at this, Like a Boss still wants to get in, has the Let's Bounce, and is using it to much effect to find Turkey Master a kill onto Uber Noobs. So, all in all, they say, yeah, okay, your support, our support, who's counting?
Yeah, and something else that I didn't get to finish because of that fight that happened there. Rumble is relatively low cost in terms of items he needs to be very good.
Yeah,
as you can see, right? Like, he's got the Leandries, he's got the Runic Echoes, he's got the Sword Boots, and he's got the Abyssal. The only thing he needs to build after this is the Rylai's, and you will have a very, very deadly Rumble to play against, right? Like, Rumble is one of those characters is that it's not a matter of whether or not he gets items, it's just a matter of when he gets them.
Sure. And
so
the degree of how late these games have been running, it does seem, quite an eventuality. 30 minutes is just cresting the mid game for these guys.
Yeah, and that is just really, I mean, that's going to be really hard if you are the side of UCB, right? Like, the equalizers have been so good coming out of the Italian. Hang on, it does look like Turkey Master might take some damage here.
Yeah, they're going to get that 4th shot off. It is going to find Pal the Great, take out a nice chunk, but in reality won't do too much. Does help secure this tower out, and Dank Puppies building up a really good push, and this is exactly what I wanted to see. Right, all the criticism I've been levying from him is because I know he's been capable of this right here, and it's the right call. He's biding his time, he's keeping the waves pressured, and now look, here's his team. They should get this tower if they're not too afraid of the engage is there though. Dank Puppies is going to take some on the chin. Nice snare to get Like a Boss less bounce nullified, but now it is Pandex, and he is trying to lead up the charge for his team. How far will he go? The answer is too far. Coach Tyler takes that one away. 4, 2, and 6 for this Orianna, really coming into his own on this game.
Yeah, that's huge. That is absolutely huge. They did an excellent job of timing the Baron and then finishing that fight right as the Baron was over. They did not waste a single second of the Baron, and that is something that we could easily have criticized them for in games 1 and 2.
Do you smell that? Smells a lot like a gold lead for Victoria finally.
Yeah, and that is like, and that actually is huge because now they're only down by 1 turret, right? They are not in a worse position than UCB. Like, that is extremely important to take note of because, like we were talking about at the end of game 1, I am fully confident that the only reason they really lost that game is because they were so far behind in the objectives.
Right.
Now they're tied up in objectives, essentially, and they're ahead by about 1,000 gold. Like, that is where Victoria wants to be, and I think we're kind of starting to see the full capability of Victoria's play right now.
I think, yeah, to the outside observer off the bat, the way these two teams are playing a very slow game, it's easy to read weakness in that. It's easy to say, well, they're playing a slow game because they really don't have the chops to play fast and loose and win on it. But I think while that criticism is certainly fair for a lot of what we've seen out of Berkeley, I think in the side of Victoria, this slow game is kind of exactly what they want. They're really pacing it up. They like to play around this. They say, you know, we may not be the better team at 2 items, but we are the better team at 6 items. And what?
Old school CLG, anyone?
Oh my goodness, yeah, the CLG EU especially. That was the team that got me into competitive League of Legends. Oh, I still miss them. Froggen, the only one active, actually had a rough series today. Okay, now here we go. 97's popping it off. Looking to find the 2-man Shockwave, but he's on the 2 tankiest members. They are going to be able to get out of that one nice and good. It's going to be Uber Noobs taking a lot of damage, but has a lot of shield to boot. And now Dank Puppies is in onto this one. It's only a matter of who he wants to find the taunt in on. Misses the flash taunt, whiffs it a little bit, but is still in a position to lay down some heavy damage, finding the back line with Uber Noobs there with him. Trying to get up, he finds one, but it is Pow the Great doing so much in the meantime. Dank Puppies is actually going to lose his GA at a minimum, and without Flash, I think his death certificate's signed here. That's not what you want. Oh, nice pop away, actually. Gets him away from Pow the Great, who is the real threat here. It's only a matter of whether or not these minions are going to be something that... Wow. Okay, they got him out. Pandex was not able to thread through the minions, and so... All in all, real scrappy on this one, lads. But they get out okay. Both teams are no worse for the wear. Some ultimates blown, some summoners come down from it. But all in all, both I think are going to be thankful to back away with their lives as we're getting into the real tense time as both Elder Dragon and Baron are spawning as threats onto this map.
Yeah, and look at that monster wave pushing down in the top. Like just coming into collapse on top of UCB, and then a monster wave is coming down that mid lane as well. And I think that is exactly what you want if you are Victoria, because that gives you the opportunity to clear out your jungle, that gives you the opportunity to clear out the wards around the Baron, and it gives you the opportunity to set up your own wards.
Right.
And that is something that we...
Are we just going to see a hot swap here? Are they just going to... Okay, this is uncommon in League of Legends, but not the craziest thing we've ever seen. One team prioritizes Elder Dragon, one team prioritizes Baron, and I assume that the members of Victoria knew what they were doing. They're giving that Baron away, but that seems like a really risky strategy.
Yeah, and looking at the Drakes that have been taken for the... I am questioning whether Victoria wanted to do that since... So look at how fast they're going. Like, that's important to note. Like, they are 2 Drakes.
Yeah.
They do have an additional 100 out of combat movement speed.
Oh, they want to charge him down. Look at this. Upa Noobs is really trying to find out Turkey Master. Half his health already gone in a couple quick bites. And look at this. Dank Puppies is in the right position to maintain a split push threat, but once the Baron minions really start coagulating from the side of Berkeley here, it's gonna become a very tense situation and very hard to push in, even with Elder Drake.
Yeah, I agree. And so I think this is gonna be... We're gonna see if whether or not the gamble of Victoria paid off probably right around now, with Rumble's ult still having about half of its cooldown to go right now. I mean, 30 seconds left on that. We'll see if what they decide to do, because UCB does kind of have that counter siege potential with the Baron buff.
Oh boy, so is going to be pushing up this bottom lane, and you can tell UCB we wouldn't have guessed that they were this scared of playing, but the way they've been going on, the momentum has been shifting away from them certainly. But the fact that they've got a Baron run right now, and they're not optimizing, they're not sending their Nautilus with teleport up into that top lane to just amplify that huge wave. They're not trying to take away that bottom inhibitor. They're really just playing on the defense, and it shows that they're tense about it. So, if anything else, the mental game is well in the favor of Victoria right now. Popping a couple ults just to try to get in, but all in all, I think both teams are just gonna sort of waste away their big old buffs here.
Yeah, and something I want to talk about that has happened several times in terms of the engaging and at the beginning of fights. We praised Turkey Master for his Varus play in the first game. His Chain of Corruptions were great. His piercing arrows were great. He was doing the damage. He was like one of the primary carries for his team. But like this game, I have barely seen him land any Chain of Corruption. Like the last 3 fights, he has missed all of them, right? Like he hasn't been hitting them on anyone. And when you an immobile team like Zyra, Jhin, Orianna, like Rumble, that is not good.
No.
Especially when you need the like having them still for that Cassiopeia and that Misfortune is huge. And so you're missing out on a pretty big wombo combo by whiffing those Chains of Corruptions if you're Turkey Master.
Right.
But
go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but also in his defense, like you are dealing with you are dealing with some problems, like dealing with the empowered out of combat movement speed Drake, right?
Right.
The extra 50 movement speed can really kind of screw with you, no matter if they have like immobility or not, right?
Absolutely. 41 minutes on the clock here. This has been a 3-hour series and some change for us so far, and looks to be drawing near the end as the push is coming through, but the Baron is now off of the side of Berkeley, and so we'll see what they can really do here. This is the furthest on this side of Victoria's map we've seen them in quite some time now. Everyone's getting up and tense in this this final stage of the game as we've now come full circle into the late game, and still only 1,000 gold between these two teams. I mean, this is the game I think we were hoping for, and whatever does come of this, I think will be a big one.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like for people who are watching, this is an excellent example, like the kind of things that you will be seeing in the playoffs, the semis, and the finals for the 4 divisions. Like this right now is between like the first seed and the second seed of 2 different groups, and like this is the type of competition that we're seeing.
Right.
So like this, like I'm just so excited to see what happens in the round of 8, because that's gonna be absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. And
I
really, one thing I really love about Collegiate League so far that I've sort of fallen in love with casting this season is, you know, in professional leagues and in professional games and in solo queue, you establish very quick metas, right? And you see, so yeah, sure, certain teams are better at playing different aspects of the meta against one another very well, but most don't have as clearly defined play styles as you're going to find in a lot of these collegiate teams. Because on a professional level, there's much more considered, I guess, just a right play style and the other play styles. And so people have their variations within that, but it's not as widespread as here in the collegiate scene. And so it's going to be really interesting. Think about, for those of you that have seen some of our Maryville games, rather, played on stream, and how quickly those guys like to play versus this really drawn-out play from the side of Victoria here. Like, it's going to make for some really interesting combinations of you know, which is going to be more potent and which playstyle is really going to come through more effectively when it does break out. And speaking of breaking out, they're dropping the ultimates. It is going to be Italian one dropping the first one. Shen coming in onto him, but nowhere near the fight to find that nice taunt in. The good news is he had drawn away the teleport from Pandex and then hopped right back up, so global pressure is still in for the hands of Victoria. It's just they may have overplayed here. I don't think they're in the best position to try. I think they just want to get Baron Vision.
Yeah, and I think that's actually really important considering how we have seen these two teams play. One thing to note is I do need to give a shout out to Turkey Master for landing that Chain of Corruption. That was huge. Landing that onto Rumble didn't allow Shin to get into the middle of that fight and make things worse for them. And that actually did give them good Baron advantage. And I've kind of noticed the trend. Hang on, Pandex taking some damage.
Yeah, no, this is getting intense, and they're trying to get around. The tension surrounding all of this is so potent for all these players. I think every single one of these 10 guys is feeling this right now. And oh man, no one wants to be the one to make that mistake. Coach Tyler may have been the first one to find it, but did get some nice one in there. Now it's like a boss making the biggest commitment of the game so far. They're breaking out the wombo combos coming down, and there's 1997 having to flash out of that one. Italian one is taking a lot of damage on the chin, but he's dealing it back out in spades. They're coming out. The front line is so low. That is one burned GA. The Zach passive should be up as well. They've not fought in a long time, so if he can get out of that one, he will be all right, even if they do clip him on the edge. 97, not gonna find it all. 4 shots, but Cassio's nowhere to be found. Do they dare run this down? They can't back because Zach is still a presence there, and Nautilus has the health bar. What are they gonna do here, Starkey?
I mean, they honestly have no choice but to try and defend Wade. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they just concede to Baron, but I was gonna say, the fight broke out. The only time we've seen either team able to get
so low for Coach Tyler.
Oh wow, that hurts. That hurts me physically.
Yeah.
The only time we've seen one team really get any kind of advantage during this series in general is like if they have Baron or maybe if they have Elder Drake.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. They've all really been looking to find a crutch for themselves. It's as if both players are saying, or both teams are saying, you know, we really would be more comfortable with that just extra oomph. I don't think we have it without this particular thing. And so that's not a bad mentality at any stretch, because you're still betting that you can outplay the other team in terms of getting that objective and then using it to your advantage. It's just, it seems like a little bit of a wall they want to hide behind.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Maybe
They can catch him here. That's huge. That is 1, 2 ults burn from him. Nice catch out to take it away. The health bars are low from the side of Victoria, but not so low as Turkey Masters is right now. Like a boss wants to go in, and that could be devastating. That's not what you want, Mr. Zach. You're going to have to bounce out of that one very quickly. Dank Puppies is gonna chase that one like a car with a tin can tied behind it. Says, okay, we're gonna be called back on that one. Coach Tyler says, no, get back here.
Please come back. I wish to fight you some more.
Oh man.
And I think this is gonna be, that actually is really bad for them. Master, luckily he didn't have any summoners up, so he didn't burn any of those trying to escape, but that was not the wisest choice to try to aggress on that.
I think we're bridging from, we're very quickly transitioning from caution to cowardice from these two teams, the way they're playing. I don't think, I really have to criticize the fact that Victoria had the chance to follow up and they did not, but look at that. That is the Elder Dragon going over to them. It's actually secured by the Orianna. Neither Smite finds it. Coach Tyler is going to get popped up there. Pandex, very, very tanky, but there's only so much you can do when there's this much damage. They're running for their lives, and unfortunately for Pandex, he's lost his in this process. What's the next move? Are they just going to run straight to Baron for this one? Looks like
yeah,
it.
There's
no top laner.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I was the side of Victoria. Like, you have done a very good job. You have on your side. You have that movement speed for the rotations. You keep some of your members outside of combat so they can try to move around, do some more kiting. Like a boss does.
Oh, he wants in. He's going for it. Can he find it? They were unsuccessful with the smite last time, but they're not even looking for the smite. They're looking for the fight. Italian one. It's going to go over. They're taking it on the side of Berkeley. That's the shutdown as well. He's out of that one. 97's going to find it, though. Coach Tyler's dominating. Zach's going to die. Holy cow, it's not what they wanted. There's only 2 left. Make that 1 as Dank Puppies takes it away. And that looks like it's going to be it. I don't think even with the Baron, Rafflecopter can hold off 3. This is going to get really interesting really fast.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. That was an insane fight. I don't know how like a boss managed to get that smite. The tiny one smite didn't even go off. It doesn't look like he's going to try to use that bullet time to clear away the minions, but I don't think it's going to do a whole lot of good because if he takes any damage, he will die. But luckily, Pandax is up to try to defend this along with him.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a tower, but they've given over the Baron and the Baron Gold and a relatively even fight. And so I actually think that comes out really well for the side of Berkeley. They lose their tower, and that's going to sting. That really sucks now for them. That the one advantage that they had in this game, consistently, the fact that they were up in towers, is now gone.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, we thought that the side of we thought that the side of Victoria was scared to push before. Now they've got at least one member with a Baron threat on him, and the side of Berkeley knows that they can win a fight. You know, this looked so clearly in Victoria's favor right around the time that Baron started falling and the pieces started getting knocked down. But again, just the trepidation surrounding these guys toward engaging, it's just not benefiting them at all.
No, it really isn't. I don't see this, like, this is rough. Like, I mean, like if you're UCB, like, looking at the minimap, like, you have had that bottom for, like, at this point in the game, 25 minutes.
Yeah, at a minimum.
Like, and you haven't been able to do anything with it. Now they do regain that turret lead, which is nice for them. Mm-hmm. But like we've talked about, as the game gets later and the gold gets higher and the terms of objectives taken stays even, those small things start to matter less and less, and the team fights and how you get picks and what happens begin to matter more.
Oh, absolutely. And these teams, every single member in this game has over 15,000 gold, except for Uber Noobs. He is lacking a little bit there, but everyone is so close to that item point where the gold does not matter. It's all about the fight, and it's breaking out. Look at this. Like a Boss is in the back line, but he's under tower. Dank Puppies is knocked backwards, and half his health is gone. He does have the GA. Most members do on the front lines of these conversations here. And just like that, more ultimates burn, more knock pops in, and no one's quite taken away from it. Again, I don't think Dank Puppies needs to be there. If I'm him right now, you teleport to that bot lane, you start pushing, and then you stand United back in when things get hairy. Because unless they pick a fight right now, they're only going to lose this to Baron minions.
Yeah, and I think the really tricky part here is, like, I agree with you. I'm not sure it is the best option if you are the side of Victoria, because UCB hasn't hesitated to pull the trigger when they see, like, a 4-member team of Victoria. Like, and the Shin ultimate does take some channel time, so if the damage comes out from the side... Look at how quickly
this tower's going down. I hate to interrupt you.
No.
The minions might get this.
What? Holy moly, that's so much damage. What the heck?
Look at that! Huh? The minions are gonna get this!
Huh? Oh my god.
Yeah, I am 100% certain now. If Shen had teleported bottom, he could have had an inhibitor.
I agree. And that does kind of come a little bit back to my point, though, of, like, because of the Shin channel time on the Stand United, if UCB got a good fight and picked, that would have been the game for them.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And so I think, since we've been talking about it so much, like, the overall just caution coming out from both of these teams, neither of them wants to be the one that makes that mistake or makes that call that loses them the game.
Right. I mean, how can you... There are no second chances here, right? Both teams are one in this series, 1-1, and this is the deciding fact. The winner of this game goes to the round of 8, and the loser goes home. And so that has to be just weighing on everyone's shoulders. I think especially the pressure's got to be there for Berkeley. They had a buy into this round, right? They didn't even have to play into it like the side of Victoria did. And so if Victoria can come through and really knock out Berkeley in their first performance as the lower seed, I mean, what's that going to say about Berkeley?
Yeah, and that's the thing is Berkeley, I feel like, has always historically team and, like, one of the best. And so it makes me wonder if this might be why, right? Like, they start to get down, and then once they're down, they kind of, like, freeze up and hesitate, and they only want to keep stalling out the game.
Right.
But, like, when they get the picks or they get an advantage, they just seem so hesitant about following up and falling behind them.
Oh, I'm with
and
you.
Victoria's playing with, like, so much, like, disregard almost. Like, the moment they see an advantage, they are going to, like, follow you up and like, chase you. Like, they want to make something happen. But at the same time,
I think they're building the right push here.
Yeah, I think so too. And Shin's doing that thing you were talking about. He's got the teleport. He's got the Stand United. Nautilus is having to be with his team because he really just doesn't have any choice but to be the front line for them.
That inhibitor's exposed, actually. He doesn't even need to wait on his minion wave.
I think he's doing it because if he does get it pushed up, he will go siege this out. And then once that inhibitor falls, he'll have a decent amount of minions going in onto the Nexus turret as well.
Yeah, this is very, very crucial. So the side of they have to at least try to stop these backs in some regard. If a couple get through, it's bad news, but they don't want to get baited out. I don't know if Dank Puppies can really survive against Pandex at this point, but takes half the health of the inhibitor, and the fight looks like it's going to break out. Rafflecopter gets out just barely. This will be the GA popped, almost certainly. No, Like a Boss is there, but if it's not one GA, it's another, and it will be his. A Let's Bounce to separate. Italian one has to pop that. Zanyas, he's coming through. Dank Puppies is in trouble now. He's going to lose his GA. Nautilus is there, and they're going to come out. This looks like Berkeley is going to take an advantage here. Dank Puppies tries to flash out. He can't find it. Boss is in the middle of the team fight. No one's died yet. Are you kidding me? And it's going to be the GA over onto the side of Zach. Should still have passive in his back pocket. This is getting so tense down to the wire, but it is Berkeley coming out with the advantage. There is the fountain just a few short steps away for the side of Victoria, so I don't think they're at a total loss, but good lord, this is scary.
Like, I'm just like, oh my goodness. This is insane, and like, both teams are playing around the GA timers too. Like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
It's got a point where, like, when your GA gets popped, you probably have enough gold in pocket to just buy a different item and sell it back. Like Shen in this regard, he's at full build, sitting on 3,000 gold, right? If his GA goes down, it's just better off to, for that 5-minute cooldown, buy a better tank item and run through that, and then in the next 5 minutes, you know, go back and swap hot for the GA.
Yeah, I mean, that's at the point where, I mean, 56 minutes and 21 seconds. Are you kidding me, UCV and Victoria? Holy moly. You guys have some mental fortitude. I'm not even playing, and I'm getting a little bit tired.
Yeah, it's looking like it's going to go over an hour, but look at this. The Baron has been started. They have full vision. The teleport's coming through from Shen. Can they take this out in time? It does go over to the side of Berkeley, and the health bars are still high, but they have to find the fight now. You cannot just let this go because they will punish you for it. Victoria, it is your move. The ball is in your court, and it looks like Pandex is the one that they're trying to find first. A good flash should mean he's out of their blast cone as well. Done very, very nicely to keep things moving, and suddenly Victoria is in a very bad position.
Yeah, and I think that is huge, but we do see Dragon coming up here in 25 seconds. I will say that's going to be the next objective that these teams are going to fight for, but
yeah,
one side is going to have a Baron.
Well, it was the same swap earlier, right? The side of Victoria, I mean, if the Dragon goes over to Victoria, this is no new situation, and if last time around is any indicator, it'll be a whole lot of nothing until both teams just cleanly burn out the buff on all 5 members. But the difference here is that UC Berkeley is here and ready to fight. They might catch Cassio in the bot lane. They tried. She got out in time. That's a good flash.
Yeah, I think if Cassio had died there, that would have been really bad. The Italian one is going to go ahead. So much health, though, and there goes Zach right off the menu.
Oh, this is big. Like a Boss is in there. His engages have been so on point for the last few minutes of this game, and Turkey Master finds the first kill. Dank Puppies looks like he'll be the second. Like a Boss is taking no damage and just dealing it out, but that's a great shockwave. Pandex is in trouble now. It goes down. Italian one is the one to fall, and Pal the Great and Turkey Master have to be careful, but the front lines from the side of Berkeley are too potent, and 97 can't find his way in. Coach Tyler's down. Really good flank from Turkey Master. That has to be the game. That's got to be it here. The death timers are over 70 seconds and ticking down.
God.
Oh, I don't know if Shen and 97 can hold this.
I don't think so. Like, the health bars are in favor of UCB. Like a Boss takes absolutely no damage from this. They do have the Baron. They do have the Elder Drake. They are going in.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
like,
is it.
I'm sorry, they don't have the Elder Drake, but they do have the Baron.
No, I know what you meant. This is going to be very, very much the game. I don't believe these two members have it. They're going to fight to the absolute death to hold this one out, though. And Pal the Great looks to be the first target. Rafflecopter's burning a lot onto the ends of 97, but doesn't find the damage. Just some inhibitor damage. He's actually Turkey Master's down, but that's going to be the first Nexus turret, the second one as well, and he cannot hold out forever. Pal the Great with the GA means he is stalling up and going to be alive long enough. It's done, ladies and gentlemen. I believe UC Berkeley will win this game in 59.5 minutes.
Oh,
they finally shut it down and take a very close win over Victoria in a series that can only be described as grueling.
Yeah, I really don't know how to describe that any. Each game was borderline 50 minutes. These teams have got to be exhausted. That last thing, I mean, that's what we were talking about, right? Like, one team had to pull the trigger. UCB decided to pull the trigger on that Baron. Getting that Baron was huge. Like, that is something that both teams were just like, let's just trade objectives. That's fine. And then finally, UCB manned up, decided they wanted to be great, and took it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have got a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to talk about it because we have another series coming right up. So if that wasn't enough League of Legends action for you, you freaking masochists, don't worry because we got more to come. Very big congratulations to UC Berkeley, proving why they got the buy-in, why they are a strong team and deserve to be in the round of 8. And to Victoria, you guys have nothing to feel bad about because that was some of the best play coming in from a lower seed toward a higher seed that we've seen in all this time. And so you guys put up one hell of a fight, fought to the absolute death, and had some amazing plays along the way. It was like a boss on the Zac, I think, finally sealing the deal. The double tank line versus the single tank did, at the end, bring this game to a close. So, Starkey, if you've got any closing thoughts, speak them now, because in 30 seconds, we're kicking them over to commercials.
Yeah, so very last thing, huge congratulations to UCB and to Victoria. Victoria, excellent try. Congratulations to UCB. They actually have the opportunity to play against UC San Diego next week, I believe. So I hope to see them prepped and come back into that game with a little bit more fervor and aggressiveness that we kind of saw from the beginning of these last 3 games against UC San Diego.
All right, we'll stick around as our Atlanta-based casting team of Fekez and Blaster are about to take on this next series. We're going to kick it over to commercial. We're going to transfer into the next series. Hope you guys had as much fun as we had. Don't go anywhere.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.